beings would be exposed to the greatest challenge in the context of evil. Now let me give you an analogy. Gary and I both have PhD degrees. You know what that PhD means? It's a guarantee that neither one of us will ever have to be tested for our competency in our specific disciplines, based on the idea that you and I have already been subjected to the most difficult tests possible in the context of our disciplines, so it's pointless to test us again. And so we get that guarantee. Well, likewise, God is providing us with a guarantee by exposing us to the most difficult challenge in the context of evil. If we can pass that challenge, nothing can ever encourage us to use our free will for evil intent for the rest of eternity. We will have passed the most difficult tests. Now let me tell you a story. When I came to the University of Toronto as a freshman graduate student, there were 13 of us in the freshman class. And the professors in the astronomy department sat us down. And they said, "You 13 are the cream of the crop. We know you're all intelligent. We know you're all prepared to work very hard. Otherwise, you would have never gotten in here. We here on the professorial staff are here to help you and to assist you. But we guarantee that the program we're taking you through is way too challenging for you to pass it without our help. If you refuse our help, you will not get the PhD. We're here, we're available, please come to us." Okay, of the 13 of us, only 6 of us got the PhD. 2 of my peers wound up spending more than a year in the mental hospital. In fact, what's interesting, they had the 16-story physics and astronomy tower where we all worked. Right next door was a 12-story mental hospital. And we felt we needed corridors between the 2 buildings at different levels because of how many in the astronomy and physics department wound up spending time there.
It happened in the history department too.
Well, some of my professors were in there as well, so quite the place. But the whole point is this. My professors said they were available to help, but they did not give me a guarantee that if I took their help, I would pass. Because some of my peers did take their help and still did not pass. God gives us a guarantee. He basically tells us, you can't pass this test by yourself. Satan is way more powerful than you are. But if you come to me for help, I guarantee you will pass this most difficult test. And that's an offer he makes to all human beings. So he explains why God invited Satan into the Garden of Eden. And it's God himself who conquers evil on the cross. And then he brings his redemptive offer to all the people groups of the world. And then there reaches a point, as it says in Romans 8, when the full number of humans that God intends to redeem will be redeemed. And when that happens, God permanently eradicates evil and places redeemed humans in their new home, not this universe, but a brand new creation, where we humans will rule with Christ over the angels. You say, why over the angels? The angels watch the grace of God in operation in those of us who are followers of Jesus Christ. We who are followers experience the grace of God. And it's because of that special training, a time will come when we'll be rulers and judges and teachers over the angels, but also over everything else God chooses to create in the new creation. And there's actually a hint of that in Revelation 21. And what does it say about our blessed home in the future? I am making everything new. It's going to be nothing like this creation. As Paul says, it's beyond what any of us can think or imagine. And I'm just going to wrap this up pretty quickly. Normally I take 10 minutes to go through the description of what we got to look forward to in the new creation, but I want to leave some time for questions and discussion. We're told that the new creation begins immediately after the removal of evil. It's not the paradise of the Garden of Eden. It's way better than the Garden of Eden. Otherwise, why would God bring Satan? If that was the ultimate, there's no reason to bring Satan in there. But God is promising something far better, because our parents in the Garden of Eden lacked something that we who are followers of Jesus Christ presently possess. We possess eternal security. They did not possess eternal security. The first creation is removed as God spoke the universe into existence A time will come when he will speak it out of existence. And several passages describe exactly how that will happen. And some of my cosmologist friends think they've actually found the model that's consistent with those biblical texts of God removing the universe. It's going to be a much bigger place than this planet Earth. I mean, this planet Earth, after all, is way too small to house the number of humans that God intends to redeem. It's going to be a place where nothing decays. It tells us that explicitly in Revelation 21. No decay. What does that mean? It means everything you create will need zero maintenance. I mean, everything we create in this world because of thermodynamics, at least for every 2 hours I spend creating, an hour has to go to maintaining what I create. There won't be any need to invest that hour in the new creation. It's a place where nothing dies. No death, no disease, no disabilities, no injuries. It's a place where there's no gravity and no electromagnetism. Say, how do you know that? It talks about this building, 1,500 miles on each side with corners. That violates the law of gravity. There's a reason why all cosmic bodies bigger than 300 kilometers across are spherical in shape. Gravity forces those spherical shapes. And yet we have something described in Revelation 21 that's much bigger than that. It also tells the new creation, no shadows, no darkness, no stars, no sun, because everything will emanate with light. That's not electromagnetism. It's a completely different kind of light. And it's a place where there's no grief, no remorse. I don't have time to go into that. There's reasons why we will not even have grief or remorse over those human beings that choose to spend eternity away from God. It's not going to be length, width, height, and time. It's going to be completely different dimensions. It may not even be space-time dimensions, but we do know there are dimensions. There's an angel with a measuring rod. It's a place of unimaginable joy, beauty, and peace, unimaginable reward and splendor. We're told none of us can possibly think or imagine how great the reward, the beauty, and splendor will be. It's a place of continual fellowship with God. It'll be a place of very fulfilling, purposeful careers, not just for a few decades, but for all eternity. You're going to be fulfilled in your career. Relationship limits will be limited, and our free will capacity will be expanded. Let me just finish this little description with a story of what happened when I signed my name in the back of a Gideon Bible, giving my life to Jesus Christ. I began to imagine life in the new creation and just saying, wouldn't it be incredible? I mean, we just heard Gary talk about these amazing apostles that we see in the New Testament. Don't you yearn to have a private afternoon office appointment with John, with Paul, with David, with Moses, and all the other heroes we see in the text? And I began to calculate the minimum number of redeemed human beings that will be there in the new creation. It exceeds about 35 billion human beings. That's conservative. It could be more. Okay. And I said, my name is Ross. I'm towards the end of the alphabet. If I try to get on the Apostle Paul's appointment calendar, I'm going to be waiting a really, really long time. In fact, I actually calculated how many tens of millions of years I'd have to wait before a 2-hour slot opens up on the Apostle Paul's appointment calendar. However, what I read in Revelation 21, we will be one as the Father and Son are one. There will be no marriages in the new creation. I discussed this with my wife, and I made the point. I think God's going to deliver us into geometric time in the new creation. We'll no longer be constrained to one dimension of time because there will no longer be the evil that requires us to be constrained to linear time. And if we're in geometric time, I'll be able to spend eternity with my wife where we're never apart from one another, just side by side for the rest of eternity. But that will not limit me from having a similar relationship with every other human being, an angel, and God himself in the new creation. And my friend, our philosopher on staff, Ken Sample, said, Hugh, I'm not so happy about this. I need my cave time where I'm all by myself. And I said, well, in geometric time, you can have a whole dimension of time where you're all by yourself for all of eternity, but simultaneously you can be having these intimate, eternal relationships with every other being in the new creation. He says, oh, okay, I think I can handle that part. So